Now, do you have trick or treat age?
Yes, so I am very thankful for the warm.
Yeah,
The
that's
warm
fine.
weather, it's not winter coats, it's not raining, at least not as of yet. I mean, that does.
Good evening. 5 right on the money, so why don't we go ahead and jump right into it? Now,
You don't have to come.
call the Industrial Development Agency to order. Start right in with Nixon Peabody.
And Jared Lusk is here from Nixon Peabody.
Morning, everyone. I know. Yeah, I took her. Well, we can't talk about.
We're supposed to have.
Open meetings. Just started, so. All right. What?
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jared Lusk. I'm the office managing partner for the Nixon Peabody, Buffalo, and Rochester markets. As I'm sure you've seen in the news, Nixon Peabody for the last 1.5 or 2 years has been in search of a new location for our regional office. As you may know, we've been located in downtown Rochester for 150 years, 125. So our intent here, after a long search, is to find an office and a location that best fit what Nixon Peabody is, and what we intend to be in the future. You can move to the next slide, please. You may know about Nixon Peabody. We have 600 attorneys. We have 13 offices throughout the nation and the world. Again, Rochester office serves the Buffalo and Rochester markets. As you can see, we have 13 offices, primarily on the Eastern Seaboard, but again in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Chicago. We're constantly looking to expand our practice and work. It's important, as you know, we have as you see here, we have 600 attorneys, some of the finest practices in the country, particularly in real estate and public finance. We have $560 million in revenue. Most importantly to us, we have over 27,000 hours of pro bono service to those that are needed in the world, and 100% rating on the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index since 2006. We are very serious about our workplace and how what a place it is to work. Again, we have 11 attorneys named Lawyers of the Year by Best Lawyers in America. Many of those are located in what is now our Rochester office. You can go to the next slide. This is important for you to understand. We have approximately 1,331 employees in our firm, 200 of which are served out of the Rochester office. So we have approximately, of our national firm, roughly 17 to 18% of our employees are located and served out of that Rochester office. Again, we'll continue that growth. We're hiring every day. But what's unique about Nixon Peabody being the only truly national law firm operating out of Rochester, we have a lot of jobs that, as you can imagine, there's a lot of people in and out of our firm every day, every week. And we often hire in Rochester, we hire where it is needed, but now in the virtual world, we have people that are sitting in Rochester, for example, serving the entire firm throughout the country. Or we could have somebody that's working in Los Angeles, for example, serving roles that benefit the Rochester office. But most of our colleagues, most of our central office staff traditionally will continue to be located in what will be our Rochester office at High Point. So all in all, our request is, with this new build out, we're very excited. We continue to work daily with the Rinaldi family on what will be a cutting edge legal office to serve the entire region of the country. Our portion of the project for our manufacturing machinery and equipment, et cetera, as well as architectural engineering fees, will total approximately $4,500,000, most of which is furniture, new furniture, and audiovisual equipment. Is someone who's pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised at how expensive that is. We just received our AV beds to have monitors, screens, phones, all the stuff that goes into a building, and we just received a bid for $2.5 million. I was shocked. Never knew how much all this equipment and things cost. It never ceases to amaze me. But again, that's our estimated cost of $4.5 million, and our sales tax exemption requested is approximately $337,500.
And that's a rendering of the building just.
That is the front. That is the beautiful rendering of what the building will be currently, that where you see the Nixon Peabody is not there. The construction team is building that atrium or that front entryway, putting an elevator to get to the second floor. The second story is a conference room, being very efficient in our space here. Currently, we operate in approximately 143,000 square feet. In our Rochester office, you're going to be just a smidge over 50,000 in this space, reflective of efficiency. People are in and out, less, some are working at home more, some are space, but we need far less space to operate the firm out of this region than we did when we built our current space in 1990.
Anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Maybe I missed it.
Derek, we're delighted to have you in Ontario County, but I don't remember, I don't recall what you said the reason was.
The reason is, we went on it about a year and a half ago. We started on a search for Class A regional office space that was appropriate for what our firm is and what it will continue to be in the future. And although there was Class A regional office space in downtown and other places, this by far, this campus, this lifestyle campus, this central located, is ideal for our future law firm. The walking trails, everything that has here makes, we have to, what we're finding in today's marketplace, we have to build an office that is attractive to our employees. They want to come. We're parking in parking garages in downtown. There's a mix of I would say an environment in and around the parking garages in downtown. This is a fantastic place that again has the recreational aspect, but our employees, we did an employee survey and over 65% of our employees wanted to leave downtown and get to a place where it's much easier for them to commute in and out and enjoy the work, more of a work-life balance, et cetera, in there. And this space that the Rinaldis have built was just, it's ideal for what we're trying to build and make an attractive workplace for our employees and still maintain a Class A office workspace.
Any other questions?
I probably missed it, but where is this located?
So the actual address is 211 High Point Drive. It is
High Point is-
High Point Drive, it's
In Victor?
in Victor, New York.
Near the, up there, or, I mean, near A2?
Yes. Which we consider very specifically a premium mall. So we're directly across the street and about 360 acres. This is the third and final office building. The first two, about 120,000 square feet, the third 150,000 square feet. And so this is, 207, 209, and 211. You drive up there now, like Jared said, you'll see the foundations being poured for their new entry. What's awesome about the design of these buildings is their ability to be future-proof. So when an entity like Nixon has specific needs, say, estate planning or clients that need a specific access to the building, we can adapt. And not only is that a feature of the project, but it is a feature that you helped cause by way of our partnership with the county. When you look at the concept of corporate headquarters, we worked really hard to accomplish that, and we didn't. When you look at the concept of being future-proof, we've worked very hard at that as a partnership with the county, and we've accomplished that. Now, as our job as landlord changes, where we're far more active in the culture of these campuses, the county has armed us to be able to afford to play that role well. So we're very excited about this. We're excited that we have a tenant that will use every feature of the campus in the building. And so this is a momentum that we'd like to share and hope it's copied, quite frankly, across our landscape here.
And you mentioned there was 200 jobs in the Rochester office now, and that would be all 200 jobs you anticipate would move to the new.
Correct.
Even with the reduced footprint, all 200 would come to this.
Yes, correct. So when we were designing these buildings, Sue mandated that we institute 40-foot bay spacing. So the efficiency modeling as part of these buildings is unmatched. In addition to the fact that Nixon Peabody had the world's premier designers. So even before we had interfaced, they had studied an efficiency model that provided a little kind of running head start as it applied to our building. So we're excited to know creature comfort and to quite literally take advantage of every square inch building inside and out. What's cool about the campus, which is always modernizing, is that there will be a common conference room and fitness facility, a lot of shared synergies within the campus. So by way of these things, we can make a square foot live large.
My wife is looking forward to the shared fitness center for me, I don't know why. We don't have that, we don't have that in our current space.
Sure. Any other questions? Before, motion to hold public hearing. Both, Dave made a motion, seconded by Mark. Any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
We'll move right into, we'll let these guys get out. Let Barry come in. Let Barry come in.
Share this.
Suppose we can let Barry come in if he wants to.
They didn't say anything about it. Upgrade security. You think 200 lawyers in one spot.
You weren't listening out there, right?
No, that's all.
What the hell we paying you for?
Good question.
All right, so we jump right into light comms. Hey, you want to introduce? Say what? Where are we at? Light comms. Where's Andrew at?
Andrew's right here.
How you doing? Andrew Colosol, the Vice President of Operations, Programs, and Engineering for Lightcom. Next slide. So we're a tactical telecommunications company. We're hidden in Victor right now. We actually used to be in Henrietta, but moved to Victor because we needed a couple of very specific things. We needed a very, very silent energy signature. So Victor's pretty wide open, and we needed a south-facing landscape where we could go and access satellites that are hovering over the equatorial arc. And then we needed some specific dock space and office space and whatnot. We found our home in Victor, New York. So we acquired a 10-acre parcel out there. As we were growing, we thought that we could expand and build as we needed, but that growth happened much faster than we anticipated. So we're actually looking to build a new building right now. So we were only founded, in 2018, and since then we've grown dramatically over the last couple of years. And we're, really dedicated to job creation in the area and keeping people here and making people move here. So we have, we regularly hire out of Rochester Institute of Technology for our engineering team. We have a very, very young workforce that is very well paid. Our average salaries are north of $100,000 a year. So we do this with a small team of highly motivated people. And our team has amazing values. We take care of them, and we make sure that we're growing very quickly. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about what we do at our products. So tactical satellite communications, it's not a term that's thrown around very often, but we essentially build very small satellite terminals to medium-sized, what I call medium-sized satellite terminals for our armed forces. So just a couple of our products that we build on the left is a 1.3 meter, which is the aperture of the reflector itself, and then in the center is a 2.2 meter antenna. And then on the right-hand side is a very, very high technology. It's called an electronically steered array. We use creative and destructive interference of radio frequencies to steer the beams around space. And then we also have a team of software engineers that build user interfaces that bring all this together so that, the 18, 19-year-old kids that are serving our armed forces and using this equipment, when they pick up their cell phone, we want it to act in the exact same way. So you're using, a technology that you wouldn't typically think about with a really, really easy interface. So just some of our customers. So we serve every branch of the armed forces. Our biggest customers are United States Marine Corps and the U.S. Army. Aside from that, we provide all of the beyond line of sight communications for the White House Communications Agency, JCSC out in Tampa. Recently, the Space Force, as they're kind of new this one's important to me and to our partners. So we do, a lot of assembly work in our building, and when we talk about our job growth, you'll see, we are taking up, relatively quickly as far as we're concerned over the last 6 years. But really what we do is we keep jobs here as well. So we just are, in our office space, we have a ton of engineering jobs, we have a lot of office support jobs, and then we have test and assembly jobs, but most of our assembly is relatively straightforward. It's like building computers, plugging in cables and screwing down screws. What we do is our engineers, when they design everything, they go to our local vendors and we build things here, we outsource things here. So TCS Electronics in Ontario builds all of our cable assemblies. TTI supplies our engineers with their silicon chips. Thermotech does every single one of our board builds. And Elite Machine does all of our machine work. And then what we can't find here, we try to keep everything, but what we can't find here, we have very strategic partners on the right-hand side, and then other partners that are building sheet metal and cables on the left-hand side are in Monroe County, and then on the right-hand side are from our global partners. You can see that our growth over the past few years. So in 2018, we were only doing about $1 million in revenue, and this year we're expecting around 96 million in revenue. And next year we're forecasting over 180. And what that does for us allows us to hire many more high-paying jobs. But like I said before, we're sending a lot of other business through Ontario to keep those jobs growing as well. So to support this, right now we're operating out of our building off of 251, and then we're also operating out of Parrington Square Mall, the old Tops facility, which is not the best place for us at the moment. It's very, very public, but it is a lot of space, and we were able to move in relatively quickly about 2 years ago. But we have been working on designing this building and, hopefully breaking ground in the next couple of weeks. We've been able to clear trees, but we're well on our way. We have designs that should be done in the next week. We're hoping to be moved in April, May-ish timeframe. But the building is not as economical as we anticipated. Costs have risen quite dramatically as well. So we're looking for some help from the county. So if you go to the next slide, please. So our request is for the 10-year pilot program to support our expansion here. We are operating okay the way that we are right now, where we have facilities that are about 6-7 miles apart, maybe 15 minutes apart. But it's a difficult way to operate where we're trying to be fast and stay in front of the competition. So we really like to build our technology campus, and would like to work with this team and the county to help us do that financially.
And one of the reasons you bought where you did was because it did have room to
Yes.
expand.
Yep.
Where exactly is that?
It's right behind Hadlock's House of Pain. Where are you guys?
What's that?
But I just said right where we are.
I know where you are.
Oh, okay, I know that.
All right, anybody else have any other questions? Looking for a motion to hold public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
A motion from Amanda, seconded by Andy. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much, appreciate you. Good for the shovel.
All right, we jump right into global comments.
Okay, global comments, we'll go to the project description first. They are going to build a renewable natural gas digester from manure. They have contracted with about a dozen farms in the county. I think one is outside the county, but most of them are in the county, to haul manure to this digester and then generate renewable natural gas. It's located, they want to locate right across from the landfill in the town of Seneca. It's on a 10-acre parcel, And it'll have access both from Route 5 and 20 and Seneca Road. If the type of project is a new build, type of assistance is a lease-back, a traditional lease-back. Their usage will be for energy production. It's a $63,752,582 project when it comes to the totals. Much of that is in the interconnection to the gas line, infrastructure, that sort of thing, and also like buying the special tractor trailers to haul the manure. There's their economic impact. It fits in GML through being agricultural. It fits in our UTEP by being manufacturing. And it fits in our strategic plan by strengthening existing industry and being a supplier to existing industry. As far as compliance, this is not a deviation. It's a regular 10-year pilot. Jobs lost in another part. They have 6 other projects that do the same thing in New York State, but it's not going to affect those jobs at all. This will be new jobs for us. They will have 4 jobs. I didn't mention the jobs. They will have 4 jobs at the renewable gas plant, plus another 4 with truckers to haul the manure around the clock. And they said IDA assistance is required because they wouldn't be able to attract financing without having the lease-back arrangement of the pilot. And Connor Hartnett is on Zoom, and he did our cost-benefit analysis for us. You want to go through that, Connor?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. So yeah, I can go through it here. Actually, I'm going to see if it's possible to share my screen. If not, I can talk through this page as well.
We've got it on there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. So we could talk through this here. In terms of our economic impacts of the project, that first table is our construction jobs. So these are jobs that are going to be created one time during the construction period. As Sue mentioned, this is a $63 million project, 9.2 million of which will be spent on materials and labor that are local. So that's our direct local spend figure in that first table that we use as the input to our impact model here. So 9.2 million in local spending corresponds to 69 direct jobs earning 3.5 million in wages. Those direct impacts are going to have a number of indirect impacts as well, associated with things like business-to-business purchases, or those construction employees spending a portion of their wages locally. So those indirect impacts, coupled with the direct impacts, result in a total economic impact of 79 jobs earning 4 million in wages. And a local spend of 10.9 million, again, during the construction period. Next, we have the ongoing impacts, which are an annual impact. Like Sue had mentioned, there are 8 direct jobs here. So this is that second table at the top. We have our 8 jobs that are earning 6.3 million in wages. This is over, the earnings figures are over 10 years. So in terms of the ongoing impact, we have a total of 10 jobs earning 7.6 million in wages over the 10-year pilot period. Our net benefits graph right in the middle shows the benefits and costs over both the construction period and the 10-year life of the pilot. So if we look at figure 2, bottom left, our total jobs, again, we have about 80 temporary jobs associated with the construction phase, and then 8 jobs with the ongoing phase. Same with earnings. So those tables there are just a graphical representation of the first 2 tables we already talked about. So we can scroll down to the numbers here. The next page. So in terms of fiscal impact, like Sue had mentioned, this applicant is seeking your standard 10-year pilot that abates a portion of the improvement value, actually all the improvement value for the first 5 years. And then there's a stepped up abatement from thereafter to being fully taxable in year 10. So if we look first at the estimated cost of the exemption, you know, this project is also seeking a sales tax exemption. So that's about $2 million here. They're also seeking a property tax exemption of a nominal value of 5.9 million. So our total exemption here is 7.8 million over the life of the pilot. And if we talk about benefits, we can look at the benefits that are driven by those new jobs and the new payroll associated with those jobs, as well as the increase in property tax revenue under the proposed pilot versus the current taxes. So on the property tax revenue side, we're calculating over 10 years, the project will generate 2.8 million more in property tax revenue than it would over 10 years at its current assessed value. And then we have those payroll numbers in there of 11.7 million. So over 10 years, the local benefit is $14.5 million of this project. There also is state benefits associated with income tax revenue for those jobs that will be created, which we've estimated at about $600,000 for the state. So if we scroll down to the bottom table to get our sort of final benefit to cost ratio table, we have our local benefits of about $13 million compared to a local cost of about 6.3 million. And then state is about $500,000 to 1 million. So our grand total is about $13.8 million to a $7.4 million cost, or a 2-to-1 ratio here for this project. Are there any questions on any of these?
Hey, Connor, the top line on here, the property tax exemption,
Mm-hmm.
how do you calculate that? Is that based off from future assessed value? How are we calculating that $5.8 million number?
Yeah, exactly. So it's based off of the future assessed value, and how we get to that number is the difference between what the applicant is gonna pay under their pilot if it were to be granted versus what the applicant would pay if the property was taxed over 10 years on the full assessment. Does that make sense?
It does. I just wasn't sure how the full assessment was calculated.
Yeah, so we did get an estimate of the full assessment from the applicant. So that's where that future assessed value came from. And when we think about that $5.9 million cost, you know, you can think about it as really more theoretical in nature, by the fact that the applicant stated, you know, they wouldn't move forward with the project if it was induced. But yeah, that's how we calculated the 5.9.
Any other questions for Connor?
I have a couple.
Mhm.
The other plants that are in operation, how long have they been in operation?
Ooh,
Yeah, that I don't know.
I'm not sure, Deb.
Well, I know for solar, we ask for a bond for the end of term. Do we know how long these facilities last with technology and everything else?
I can speak a little bit to it now.
I would love you
There's
to.
not much disruption when it comes to taking this out. Solar field, there's certain things you have to do with panels, certain things you have to do, that's why there's a big thing at the end in case it doesn't work. This is just regular construction type stuff.
Okay.
I have personal knowledge of them. I've worked on a few of them, large ones, so. 90 megawatt unit. The only thing is a lot of concrete. And they do a road concrete, and they have to protect the dimensions of 20 years, and then they decide to close it down, give a lot.
So it's
Like a
just
solar
tax.
field, you gotta get rid of animals or things that might be a problem. I would not, I don't see the plans, I don't know, but knowing it's the ones that are gonna, asset.
They're starting to put them up different spots. There's one, they just put one in Newark, a smaller one in Newark, there's one in Auburn, it's a lot of biodiversity.
Independently owned, huge farms. Monsters.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? We will be looking for a, I'll move it, I have a motion to authorize and induce. Second by Dave. Any other discussions or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. On the new energy works. Sue, you got that?
Yes, there was a letter in your packet that you received. New Energy Works located in Farmington, up near the Thruway, is, a neighbor that the town is encouraging to put in a solar farm, now that you talk about that, Deb. But, they are putting in a solar farm, and to keep cars that are going in there, they get close to some townhouses that are built right along 332 there, and to keep the cars away from the backs of these townhouses, New Energy Works was encouraged by the town to do a swap of land, but this piece of land they want to swap is in a pilot project that we have, so they need to seek our permission to do this land swap. The cars don't go so close to the condominiums there, the townhouses. And they included a map, and that was included, but it's hard to tell from the map where the swap is, but
And where is this located?
New Energy Works is,
I know where New Energy Works is, but where would this road?
is
I
be
couldn't
just
find
north of them.
96 or 332 on, where's that?
You
in
don't see
relation
It's, parallel to 332,
to? Okay,
and 96 would be south of there.
so it sort of goes through where the old, driving range was?
Nope, south of there a little bit. I'm not sure where the solar farm's going, but all he sent was the stuff that belongs to him.
I'm talking to Supervisor Inglesby from Farmington. They work with solar developer and with New Energy Works. The town wants this road, so it worked out for everybody to make this one. Because the neighbors were getting a little concerned if we got the road, and the old design without the swap did not make them very happy.
No, and the pilot is up in 2027.
Is there anything council needs to explain to us about a land swap?
So what we'll do is just a partial release for the land that is encumbered by the existing IDA project. So we'll release it from the leaseback to then allow them to transfer it, and then allow them to obtain whatever additional land. We're not gonna add the new land to the existing IDA deal, that's just theirs now. And we'll release the portion that they need to transfer.
Any other
So
questions?
does that mean that both parcels then are at full taxation?
So the land would have been fully taxed, the pilot's just on the improvements, but and it's not a big piece of land, I think it's half an acre. So we'll just carve that out, it's not gonna affect the pilot payments in a material manner.
All right, any other questions? We're looking for a motion to allow the land swap. I'll second Dave, seconded by Andy. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Old business, haven't had that in a while. Airport management and operations pathways, inform the board. Yep, set it up.
Zach, I'll set it up for you a little bit. All right. So you were given in your packet the memo that was asked for from last month. That was kind of a ranked system of, this is what McFarland would recommend based on the memo from last month, which kind of gave you some ideas of what we could do with the airport moving forward. The only reason why I want to jump in on Zach is in the interest of everyone's time. I think the one that we should really focus on the most is, and we spoke with Zach last week about this, and asked him to put it number one. He said that to really do it, any service to the IDA, to the county, to the airport was to do number one, to really get into a further study, so he can give you more of an idea of what all the rest of them might look like, rather than just taking 30 days and trying to throw it on a piece of paper and, hey, these might work. This would be more of a study and really a deep dive. But it is outside of what we paid McFarland to do currently. Zach was very polite about it. But in our phone conversation, I said, Zach, if we're not paying you to do this, then we'll put that in front of the board as a recommendation to move this further. I think it moves alongside of what we've been trying to illustrate to the Board of Supervisors over the course of the last year. This would be a real deal. Hey, these are our options to go along with all the other things that we put in front of them. So I think it deserves consideration. The other ones are exactly what Zach said they were going to be. It was, hey, I made these recommendations to you last month, and this is kind of the ranked order that I would put together in a 30-day, 30,000-foot overview. So Zach, if I missed anything, please go ahead, but I wanted to make sure that you were too polite.
You know, I try. I've worked with you guys for too long to say no, but it's like, ugh. So, you know, ultimately it comes down to, you know, as we look at the, look at the memo, look at what was talked about last month. You know, there's a number of different paths, but it's more of an analysis of the viability of each of those paths. You know, obviously transferring to a public entity, you know, if you were to not further study, but, you know, were to just move on to something, that is the quickest, the cleanest opportunity for the IDA to transfer the airport to another operator to continue to maintain a public use airport. Obviously, the hindrance there is finding an interested party who, you know, who is willing to commit to accepting the maintenance responsibilities and all of the grant assurances that come with that. There is precedence in New York for a transfer of an airport in the last decade to 15 years. Actually, I said 20 years, but Syracuse went from being city operated to an authority. Watertown went from being operated by the city to operated by the county. I know there are others in the state as well, but those are two more well-known ones recently. The other one, too, is not written there, but Stewart downstate is still owned by the county, but is operated by the Port Authority. So they went through a different route there as well. Another option we did not talk about last month, but is also an option, is the IDA continues to operate the airport. What does that look like? You know, what we would be proposing would not necessarily be the form of a business plan, but it could look at opportunities for how the IDA could operate the airport. So instead of utilizing an outside entity for maintenance FBO services, doing it yourself, there's pluses and minuses there. Obviously, it's more staffing, more expense, but you're also not outsourcing as much. So there's things to think about there. And then the last items were similar to what we talked about last month. The Airport Investment Partnership Program. The FAA's renamed it. I had a conversation with somebody at the FAA, and they gave me some more information on the privatization program. So that is the new name, is the AIPP, but that is finding a private entity to literally purchase the airport and continue to indicate that they're willing to operate the airport long-term as a public use airport in adherence to the grant assurance, again, that the IDA has already accepted. So that the one grant assurance that is waived in this instance is the one where the operator of the airport can benefit or profit from the airport. So most instances, if the IDA were to make money at the airport, you have to commit to reinvesting the money on the airport. In this instance, a private owner could take a profit from the airport if they made it. That's the one grant assurance that really will go away. The rest of them maintain, guaranteeing public access, allowing military or public aircraft to come in, will continue. So they, essentially they're operating the airport just like you do. And then, the other option really looked at was, trying to find a private operator. I put that last. I think that is the, so the IDA owns the airport, does the maintenance. and just leases it out to a private company. I find that to likely be the least viable option. And we've talked about that before, just with the lack of revenue sources for an operator to come in and quickly start recouping the costs that will be required will be difficult. The IDA has done RFPs in the past for this. It's been several years, but has done RFPs. Most of the responses were not financially favorable to the IDA. So that could be an option, but it seems as though likely the least based on what we know. So I mean, it's a very high level review. There are ways that that the revenues can be turned around for the airport. There are ways to transition the airport to other operations. Outright attempting to close the airport, there actually was something in reauthorization that was passed a few months ago that prohibits the FAA from even allowing an airport to close. So that's not even here because it's not an option right now, unless you got Congress to change the law. These are essentially the options that are presented that are available. Some are more viable. They all might be long shots. Some are more viable than others. They all require a fair amount of work. They will all take a long time. Even transitioning to another government entity will take several years. Transitioning to a private entity, if a private entity were to purchase the airport, some of the couple that have happened in the last few years have taken 4 or 5, 6 years. So it is a long, long process for anything.
And just so we're going the same direction, you're saying one would be the best. In order to make something like that happen anyways, you gotta do number one before you get to number.
I kind of think you do. And like I said, it's not a business plan per se, but it really is. You need to have a better handle on, what the requirements are going to be, both of the IDA and somebody taking on the airport. And I think that, whether it's a municipal entity or a private entity, and I think that needs to be spelled out and very, very aware for the IDA board to know as you proceed in having discussions with people what those obligations are going to be, and especially financially or or just regulatory.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Zach about the memo?
You have a question for Zach, and I have a question for the attorneys in the audience. Would we be required to go out for RFP to have a survey like this done, like Zach is suggesting, or could we just hire Garland as a contract extension, or?
You have to follow your policy, so I think you do have in there the ability to not follow an RFP process if you're getting a specific and special type of professional services.
Okay.
So I just have to confirm that in the policy.
Okay, and the other question for Zach, how long do you think a survey like this, or a study like this, how long do you think it would take?
So if I can just back up just to point, so when you're looking at documents, I also believe our 5-year agreement has options for additional studies as necessary. So that might be a place to look as well.
Okay.
And I would think 2 to 3 months. It wouldn't be ready by November. I'd have to look at my staffing. I think we could get it ready by December, but I'm much more confident in January. I definitely know November is not feasible.
Entities that might want to be involved. Anybody else have any other questions? We could actually just make a motion to hire Garland to do this.
Well,
And check.
yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable moving forward until I confirm that you're compliant with your policy.
We can make a motion saying that if you find that we're okay.
I guess, yeah, subject to attorney approval that the policy, procurement policy has been done in compliance with procurement policy.
I'm not gonna try to restate all that, but I'll make that motion. All right.
I'll second it.
Dave made it, Deb seconded it. Any further questions?
I was just gonna comment to say that the study really will be helpful, but a few conversations about how to go forward and so on. And, I know there's a lot of questions at the, county board level, so I think this would be a very good supportive document as we start talking about future options.
Any other statements or questions? All those in favor of this engagement?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none? Carried.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Brent.
The administrative portion. Minutes.
A motion.
I have a motion from Deb, seconded from Mark. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor of the approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none? Carried. I'll see the budget, 25 to 29.
Okay. Okay, so this is the fourth, basically a three-page document. There's a fourth page on the back that does a little quick cash flow over the 4 years. So let me just go through the first page and explain it. So this is pretty much what we have to enter into Paris. This is an annual document that gets loaded, and it's actually got its own little section of the Paris reporting. So the actual, the estimated, and then the four proposed budgets are what are required. So we went through and we did our estimates. As you can see, if you look at the history and going forward, I think each of the numbers are fairly consistent. There's not much wavering in the agency fund. It's pretty much a fixed cost budget. There's not much there. So we're looking at the bottom here. If I was to just go to the expenses for the adopted budget, we're looking at a positive of about 150,000, and then pretty close to that going across the board there. The agency is if we look at this through a cash basis, that's what we're looking at, 169, 730, 166, et cetera, 157 for the 4 years. Okay. Is there anything that sticks out on this particular budget? Again, this is pretty straightforward.
It's small dollars, but it seems like either the contract with Ontario County and legal are pretty flat over a 4 or 5 year period. Maybe the county's being generous and not.
Those have been fixed at this point. So actually, the way the contract reads is there's a fixed amount, and we keep tabs of our time. And if we go above that, then we owe it.
Okay.
So that's why it's just a budgeted number at this point.
All right.
Okay, flipping back to the second page. So we didn't do much expounding here on this budget. We've pretty well kept it similar to 2024's. We're not sure what's going to happen over the next couple of years, so we kept it very similar to where it was. We put in a couple increases for some of the bigger contracts and such. And if you just go down through the adopted budget compared to estimates and all that of where we're going to be, you'll see that there's not much there. The big one here is that the airport manager is being allocated at 100% of total costs, where in the past it was 65%. With the county picking up the balance. So that was the one thing that moved over this year. So. Give you a moment to look at these. The bottom line is contingency. It's mostly just kind of a guess just for these unanticipated expenses that roll through. So the airport excess has, which has been fairly consistent years over years, is about $378,000 for 2025. We talked about this at length at our finance committee meeting, and pretty well kept it to where it was from last year. The bottom is the capital expenditures portion of it. This is, we actually have a fixed document that Zach provides on an annual basis. These are all the projects that we apply for. We do get $150,000 annually just to do whatever, not whatever we want, it's gotta fall within a certain criteria. But we do get a flat $150,000, there's no contributing or anything like that, it's just here to go, keep the airport going. Anything above that is, any further projects, we have a 5% match. Usually the feds pick up 90%, state picks up 5%, and we pick up 5%. And that's pretty much what you'll see there. Next year, we did budget $70,000 for some capital purchases that won't be operational, we'll actually capitalize them. Those were for, I think, paving or.
Paving is correct, we're gonna coordinate with the weather station project.
So that's why we have that unique number there for capital purchases down at the bottom. Airport contributions, so therefore we're looking at a net between all the funding and the expenditures of $123,000 for next year. So the next slide is the estimated airport cash basis of $500,000. The depreciation is relatively consistent year over year. A lot of these things are amortized over 20, 30 years. So we're looking at an estimated deficit of about $1,060,000 next year. Any questions on that one? Okay. So the next one takes, all right, so this is more of a, so this is only looking at 2025. The first couple pages were basically for the state. That goes on to the state program. So this, what this one does is it takes the agency and the OC IDAC airport and kind of looks at it a few different ways at the bottom. So you've got the budgets that are going to equal to what the previous two pages are. The adopted budget for 2025 would be $150,000 gain. Then there would be an adopted budget for 2025 for the airport. If everything happened, there'd be a $160,000 deficit on that. So then the next two ones are just, through the years, we've kind of come up with these ways to look at it, but the operating excess deficit, so this is without any depreciation or net capital expenses. So if we did no capital expenses whatsoever, through depreciation out the window, we'd have, it's basically about a $377,000 cost loss. And that would pretty much be cash basis. And the next one is cash without depreciation, and that is about $500,000. And then the bottom is pretty kind of self-exploring. One includes the depreciation and net capital assets or expenses. No depreciation includes net capital expenses, and no depreciation or net capital expenses is the 208 on the bottom. And again, both these budgets are fairly similar to pretty similar to the one we have today and the ones previous. We'll say this, the combined net has been grown year after year. Somebody would recommend that, can we see this, can we see that? So we just keep building on the bottom.
It shows we run out of money.
Yeah, well, we'll see that on the next page.
I don't like that we run out of money. It shows when we do.
So the last page here is, it's again, a very estimated cash flow. Like if we just kind of looked at our expenses the way they were, how it would look at the end of 4 years. So we're looking at 24, 25, 26, and 27. And actually, I'm sorry, those are a year off. It'd be 24, our finishing 24, then 25, 6, and 7, and down to 2028. The total cash balances, if we completed all the projects on a timely basis and everything was spent, we didn't have any big accruals at the end of the year, we'd be looking at a cash balance of about $2,300. So that's the key thing. These numbers you can trace back to page 1, the 4 years that we show. The good thing here, the things you gotta remember is when you're looking at the edge of 4 years, you know, you've got time to react. So it's not like we're gonna come in one day and have no cash in the bank. So, but cash is king, we look at it frequently. So.
Any questions from one?
So on the capital improvement that's listed here, is it clear on these what are must-dos and what are maybe nice to have?
On the document you have, that is our capital improvement plan as it stands.
Well, the reason I'm asking is it's funded by roughly $10.5 million of federal and state funding.
Yes.
And if that dries up, if that gets cut, I'm trying to understand where does that burden fall? Because the IDA runs out of money in 2029, 2028. So if one of these projects, if FAA comes in and says, we're gonna cut 10, 20, 30% of funding, trying to figure out how we balance all of that.
Well, a lot of these projects, I don't have the projects with me.
Projects we have for 2025, for example, are pavement projects. Taxi lane ramp, $315,000, and that's all planned and budgeted in the AIP. Is all fuel and funded by fuel and other revenue monies from tickets and so on. So that's guaranteed, and they usually go out to 5 years on that, which is typically 95%. I think our share was 45,000 next year goes that much.
I was a little more concerned with 26 and 28.
The 2026 capital improvement plan was really by way of moving the 2025 last year down to 2026. I suspect that next year, around August, we will probably move 2026 and keep doing it until.
So I appreciate that. It's a philosophy and a method, but
At some point in time, and I suspect it will come soon after, Zach gives us his not very, but Zach gives us his more deep of a dive look. We're gonna have to have some conversations surrounding several of the projects on the capital improvement plan. Like Bob said, the pavement and such is there this year, it's necessary, we need it to continue on. There are some on there that may be less than, that will be the board's discussion over the course of the next. Yes, there are plenty of projects on there that we just simply can't afford. But we also have, there's a formula to all of it too, because there is the very real possibility that we'll be giving back money. Because some of them are, we said we do them, and we're in a spot right now where we're not doing them. So that's a conversation that we have to have with both the FAA, the DOT, more of the DOT, and that will come with costs associated to it. So we have to be careful. Right now, the plan has been for the last year, 18 months, to ask for forgiveness and tell them that we might do it in the future, and we'll see if we can get an extension. So far, they've been willing to cooperate. The next time we write for an extension, they may come back and say, nope, you either do it or you give us the money. I would suspect they'll give us the money.
just concerns me that the whole future capital improvement at the airport based out from state and a federal budget that are both going in the wrong direction. I get that FAA is a component of it, but it just concerns me that.
I've seen these pretty low. I mean, we've been a couple of years at 150,000 and that's it. So they have the ability to adjust them also.
Michael, what is the budget for 2024, what you call the agency excess? So where it says 493,691.
That's, let's see, we got our statements. For me. better be close to that. Yeah, Jerry's number a little bit off, but that's all right. So that's, so what that is, it's gonna be your revenue just minus your total expenses, and that's where they were when I put this together. So,
This is actual.
yes, pretty close to actual.
What was the budget for 2024?
Total budget?
What is the budget?
You do
For the
see how
full
close
year.
they are to the budget.
Yeah, that's the other same. Well, I don't have the total with me, sorry. I don't have the total budget with us.
60-something,
Yeah.
judging by the other ones moving forward.
So right now, if you look, like, we'll look at our financial statements a little bit later. When I go from January, September, we actually came in with a negative, or I'm sorry, revenue of 269. That's the airport, I'm sorry. There we go. So in our financial statements right now, we have a budget of 98,000, but that's our net income, okay, through 9 months.
Okay.
So we'll take this budget and do our best to allocate it on a month-to-month basis, okay? So we don't just put the budget in as one number in January and continually go against it. Some time ago, it was recommended if we could kind of say, where should we be in 6 months? Where should we be in 9 months? So, right now, our budget says that we should be about $98,000 to the good. We're actually 509. We've had a couple good projects that closed and a couple that carried over from last.
For 509, that includes part of October.
No, it's
No.
right through September.
I don't know how that, and I don't want to get into the weeds. I had a point I wanted to make, but
Sure.
the number I'm looking at is 493,691.
Yes.
So when you say we're at, what, 509? I don't know what number you're referring to, but
From the P and L.
From the profit and loss that we'll go hit next.
that we haven't gone through yet.
Correct.
Yeah,
So I'm just kind of looking at that, and again, we do the budget.
okay.
I probably
The
should have put 520 or 929 there.
The point that I wanted to make is that last year, we were to the good, to use your term, 300,000. This year, we're gonna be 500
550 is our
or
estimate.
so,
Yeah.
okay? And
450.
it strikes me that those numbers are similar to what I recall we typically hit. But going forward, the budget is $170,000 a year
Right.
or less for 4 years out. I mean, that's the other piece of this problem that would at least extend this cash flow issue.
Sure it would.
And it's certainly not my job to create that budget. I just want to point out that,
We typically, look at our revenue source and look at what we think our projects coming in, and try to do our best guess. Going out like 28 or 26, 7, and 8, again, that's more of a Paris requirement. So we're kind of, we have been historically, we'll kind of pick that number and go forward unless we knew there was some good, bigger projects coming down the line. When we first started doing these hotels, if you remember, our budgets were jumping around because we knew, yes, we're gonna close on the hotel in 2 years. So we had a big number in there. Right now, there's really, when we're doing this, there's not too much that we know about. So these are the numbers that we come up with. And we feel comfortable with too. I'd rather be lower than higher,
I'm sure you would.
so.
I mean, generally, when people are budgeting, if they can get away with it, they're gonna be
Yeah.
a little more conservative. All I'm saying is it's contributing to this issue. And what I really struggle with is we're passing up capital improvement projects that have been funded, and we're pushing them out, and I hear, Ryan, that they'll probably let us push them out further, but we don't know that. And we're doing it because we're gonna run out of money. I understand that. I've been on this song for a number of years, but
The ones that have been pushed out are the ones that require more money to keep them going. Okay, keeping the infrastructure of the airport is paramount. I mean, that's pretty much what we want to do. We're not going to push out sealing anything or putting in requirements that are for safety issues. But I think the big one that we're talking about now is building the terminal.
mm-hmm.
So that would require, you got to staff it, you got to clean it, you got to do everything else with it. So that's kind of the one that we've been holding off on. And that had a pretty big dollar to it.
And the bid came over budget too, so it wasn't just there were others.
Sure. No, I get it. I just,
Can we get a list of the projects that are out there that are
Yeah.
potentially at risk?
We did somewhere.
It was
No, no.
Emailed it, didn't we?
Yeah.
yeah, it was
But it may not-
Last email? Okay.
yeah, there's a broken down by year, all the capital improvement.
No, I'm talking about the ones that were potentially at risk
Oh, okay.
because we don't complete.
Yep.
That we're gonna go back and ask for.
The exact list of the.
Yeah, it's nice when we can get that while we're doing the budget. For many times, we don't get that in time. This year it came in like on the 11th hour, so.
Yeah, you wanted to know which projects we have to the attention of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike. Any other questions?
Feel like a motion? I'd love to make it.
Sounds good.
Second.
All right, I've made a motion, made a second. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Budget has been adopted. Financial statements, Mike?
I'm not gonna, unless you'd like me to go through line by line.
No, I don't want you, Morris. I knew you were gonna say that.
All right. But basically, you kind of just saw it on the other document here. Ended up with cash of $1.6 million. Going down. We do have, let's see, due from the airport fund is, those are the two big numbers up there. So we have a total assets of $3 million for the 3 quarters ending September. If we go down, we got the escrow, not a lot of assets, and then equity, and that's it. Pretty simple balance sheet. And here's our income statement for doing very good against budget. That's one thing I'll say against both of them. We hit the budget pretty close on an annual basis. Very rarely do we get hit with a stinger. But as you can see, the budget's about 200 for revenue. That'll jump up to 300, I think, in October. And we kind of estimate where we think the project's going to close, going. So actually, expenses are way low. We're looking at 88 versus 113. So, however, I do got to stand back. There is, you're going to see later on an insurance bill for $1,800 or $18,000. That'll get us caught up there. Okay, keep going.
I think it's turned my mileage
So so we ended the quarter of September with $8,000 in the cash there. We got a couple small little receivables, some small stuff coming from the FAA and the New York State. It's right there. And then lots of pages of our assets. So at the end of the year, like, you won't see anything new until the end of the year, and that's when we create this and put all the expense lines into where they appropriate be on the balance sheet. Okay, staff. A couple of accounts payables there. There's the offset to the due from airport. There's the due to agency. Deferred loans and leases, that's just an accounting things that we have to do. That'll change at the year end, and that's it. And there's our net assets of 13 million, for total equity of 12,900,000, plus 14 million. Expenses here, same thing, really adhering close to the budget, so this is a good one. Kind of go down and look at them, they're very close, so. We still have about 4,000 left of the contingency, that'll kind of offset a couple of the, repairs and that, fuel-related cost. And then if we can go down. So I think what's missing here mostly is the road this year, right? So that road kind of got pushed off. So that's why we're a little bit lower than what we budgeted for. All right. Any questions on those?
Nobody have any questions? I'll entertain a motion to accept the report. I'll move them. Motion from Andy. Seconded by Mark. All those in favor of the report's accepted?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Before we go into the airport update, we have to go into an executive session to discuss the real estate. And we want to do a motion for that. Motion from Dave, seconded by Mark. All those in favor going to executive session? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, carried.
Hey, reverse.
We're out of executive session. Ollie, come free. For the record.
I have to head out. I have a child waiting for a ride at 7, so.
For the record, no action was taken, just information purposes only in the executive session. And we can go into the airport update. Thank you, Lance.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. Usually. We don't always have. Airport update, on the, go ahead, Bob.
I don't have,
Wait a minute, we've got that. Did you send it to us?
yep.
Did we have any questions on Bob's update? If not, we can make a motion to accept this report. I'll move. A motion from Dave. Second by Andy. All those in favor of accepting Bob's report?
Aye.
Any no? Carried. Yeah, so we need a motion to, on the.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, Andy, to accept the bid, I'll second. Most bid on the septic system, seconded by Mark. Any more discussion on septic? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Invoices for payment, Bob and Mike show.
Nothing unusual. Reminder, RSI net is the weather station reporting service, and Eurobeetle is the gas, it's diesel. We get diesel probably 3 times a year, depending on how much snow we get. So this is our pre-winter delivery. What else do we have down there? And McFarland Johnson are some of their engineering fees for the 2 projects, federal projects we've got going. And I think the generator's actually going to close here soon. And the runway obstruction removal is also should be closing. So I don't know if these are last invoices, but they're both federal projects.
I just want to say too, a lot of these are doubled up because we didn't meet, so.
Right, anything out of the ordinary on there, Mike?
No, we're good.
For motion to pay the bill. Cool. Mark,
Second.
seconded by Deb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, hearing none, carried. Meeting dates.
You got a list of them in front of you for next year. And I wanted to talk about this year also, the November and December meeting dates for this year. We've got one on the Monday prior to Thanksgiving and one on December 23rd.
I think so.
Does anybody have a problem with the one before Thanksgiving, on Monday? I don't think I have an issue with it.
I have no issue.
Okay, that was on
No, we
the 23rd,
skipped
get a little close, people go away for Christmas. Does anybody want to move that up a day, or want to leave it on the 23rd? Move it up until the Monday,
Go
Friday?
away. I said we don't go away. Can't take all the girls.
Monday probably would be the 16th, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I'd probably be good either. I'm good either way.
The staff having an issue with the 23rd.
Yeah, let's do it on the 16th.
The staff having an issue. That'd be awesome, might not wanna come in, I don't know.
Yeah,
I was looking at all of them, looking at me like, just for the staff. Does anybody have an issue with the 16th if we moved it?
No.
I don't think so.
I have a motion to change it to the 16th. Need a motion.
Moved.
Yeah, a motion from Dave, second from Andy. Please send out a reminder to everybody, so we're not all not here on the 16th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried.
As far as next year's, schedule, just, I would recommend that we do that again next year too. So we don't have to have this conversation.
Anybody, department update, Ryan, you got anything to inform us of? That we're up to already? Yes.
We did skip one item,
What do we skip?
municipal deposits. We need a motion. for
Oh, I
that one,
did
believe.
skip that, didn't I? Crossed it off, it must be like it's ran so far into it. I thought
You thought that was the
All right, so then tell me about municipal deposits.
Oh, yeah, the bank would like us to just completely redo our bank. We've been, targeted twice, submitting checks to our accounts, so we're gonna get new banking accounts and new statements and all that kind of stuff. So, we're having Amanda, Mike, and all the other signers completely redo everything, and we're gonna start that over again. There is a resolution in there that has, your approval for the authority to sign checks on behalf of the ADA, or IDA, sorry.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see
Not
that.
in.
I didn't see any of that.
It goes from six, if I skipped it, it went from six, jumped right over that to 7.
Is it with the bank form resolution?
Yeah, it's a bank form that I, Amanda McDonald, is the treasurer of the Ontario County IDA, et cetera, et cetera. So it looks like this, and then the authorized signatures underneath. So this is something that we've signed ever since I've been here.
It's the same with the sign as I take it. This is.
Yeah, these are all the signers that everybody, you know, yeah, there's a lot of paperwork here for the bank to authorize it. So, yeah, when our EDC got hit twice, and they just said, it's time to redo everything. So that's what we're doing. So typically, we'll do this if somebody leaves, and we'll just redo it new. So, it's been 2 years since the IDA had one done.
So what's kind of paraphrase the resolution, so.
The resolution is just to, let me see here, approve the, update to the municipal deposit resolution to include Michael Davis, Amanda McDonald, Ryan Davis, Susan Berry, and Michael Wojcik to be signers, of all accounts for the IDA. And then the resolution is so forth.
Second.
Mark was the first, so that's second, outstanding. Any questions? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, carried. Any sort of small update?
Yeah, I'll go as quick as I can. Shared with you what I shared for the Q3 update to, the Board of Supervisors, if you want to take a look at it. Happy to answer any questions. Going back a little bit towards the last meeting, the only update I got from Acoustis, was on the 23rd of this month. No update on the current head count there, so I assume that it's the same as what it was back then, which was 2,000. They're still seeking funding, no legal update from the court yet, so we don't have anything to go over there. I'll get into this more probably next month, but we are working with, both assembly members and, Senator Helming, with issues regarding the utility companies, and lack thereof. There's more to come on that. It's just started with residential development in Victor, or Farmington. We sent an RFP for the department, strategic plan. That's on the street. We will be tapping some of you to be on the steering committee, I'm sure, in the future, but we're waiting for, people to respond. Department, and with the help of the planning department, made a $2 million ask from the Office of Homes and Community Renewal for the Bank Rental Improvement Program. That application went out earlier this month. We will hope to get that in December. I'll let you know. Oh, public hearing for 10 Chapin Street, we had to push it. They were still working out some kinks on tax credits, right, Sue, if I remember correctly?
Scenic and historic preservation.
So once they have that stuff all in line, they'll have a more concrete, this is how many units are in the building, and we can go to public hearing. We'll keep you up to date on that, and we continue to work with the 5 other counties on the railroad pilot request. 6 counties in a railroad that we're negotiating with, so.
And the 6 counties are harder than the railroad.
Well, 5 of the 6 counties are harder to deal with.
Oh.
One of them is a treat, and that is my update for them.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Andy, seconded from David. Nobody packed up. We have more fun to have. We've got to call to order the local development workshop, which we go through our yearly financial statements, and we can.
Yeah, this is, we'll make this real quick. Are we open?
I open.
Going?
We're open under local development.
This is the LDC budget. This is something, again, just like the IDA has to be posted. The expenses are all the same. We've got, the only thing that's new is the contract with the Ontario County. They had foregone this for rental of the use and labor and all that, because they were, basically the LDC had virtually no money. I think we were 3-4 years out before we were done. Basically had a project, and that's gonna keep us going for about 15 years. So, we have the new contract with Ontario County for $3,000 a year. So that'll be minimum. If we go above that, I don't anticipate it. The only way we go above it if we got a project. And if we got a project, it would be great. So, that's what I have for the budget.
All right. We have a motion on the budget.
I'll move them.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. We gotta go to do the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes from 6/24.
Motion from Andy,
Second.
second by Deb. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor of the passage?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. And then the bills.
There are none.
There are no bills.
No bills?
We don't need to do it.
Till then,
Adjourn? Andy made a motion to adjourn. He said it was bills, but I knew it was not. All set? All those in favor? Opposed? Good.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
You want me to send you
Yeah.
our agreement with McFarland?
Yeah.